Hi everyone, it's Matt here from Style Factory, your go-to resource for SEO advice. Today, I'm going to show you how to do a comprehensive SEO audit. Doing this helps you identify the issues that are holding your website back. For example, broken links, slow loading pages, duplicate content, and poor site structure. Now, one thing I should mention before we dive in is that performing a site audit requires an SEO tool. The one we use at Style Factory is called SEMrush, and if you'd like to follow along with what I'm doing, you'll find a link to an extended, free trial of the platform in the video description. Please note that this is an affiliate link, so if you buy through it, we may get a commission at no extra cost to you. If you're using a different tool, not to worry, the same basic principles apply, and this video will still help you perform a site audit effectively. Okay, let's dive in. 1. Set up your SEO project. To get started with your SEO audit, start a SEMrush trial or log into your account. Once you've done that, navigate to your SEO dashboard. Click Create SEO Project, enter your domain, and give your project a name. This creates a dedicated workspace for your website and unlocks access to all of SEMrush's site auditing features. To run your first site audit with SEMrush, click the Setup button in the Site Audit box. You'll be asked some questions about how many pages you want to crawl and how regularly. Supply this information and then click Start Audit. SEMrush will then start crawling your site and try to identify any problems. 2. Check your site's health score. When your first crawl is complete, you can access your results in the Site Audit section of your SEMrush dashboard. The first thing you'll see is a site health score, a percentage that reflects the overall technical health of your site. This is based on the number and severity of issues that SEMrush has detected and lets you get an immediate sense of what shape your site is in. This serves as a useful benchmark. In all the subsequent steps in this video, the overall aim is to increase this score. You'll also get an at-a-glance overview of the volume of problems SEMrush has found. These are divided up into 3 categories. Errors, the most critical problems, for example, broken pages or missing page titles. Warnings, medium severity issues, e.g. slow load times or duplicate meta tags. Notices, lower priority suggestions, e.g. image alt attributes. A good way to work through things systematically is to use the thematic reports that SEMrush provides, starting with its crawlability report. 3. Fix crawlability issues. Crawlability and indexability are crucial to SEO. If search engines can't find or access your pages, they simply won't appear in search results. Things that typically stop your site from being indexed properly include your robots.txt file instructing bots not to crawl certain pages, pages being tagged as no index. This asks search engines not to include them in results. Broken internal links, i.e. links that point to URLs that no longer exist. Orphaned pages, pages that don't have any internal links pointing to them. And slow server response times. Going into the crawlability section in SEMrush lets you see how many pages in your site are indexable. You can click on the Blocked from Crawling statistic to get a list of all the pages that Google currently can't access. Now, in many cases, blocked pages are actually a good thing. There are certain bits of your site, for example, admin login pages, checkout pages, or search result pages that you don't really want Google to index. But if you see any pages in SEMrush's Blocked from Crawling box that you do want to see featured in search engine results, it's worth investigating their technical configuration. You might find, for example, that you've added a no-index tag which blocks content being crawled to an important page by mistake. Another key thing to pay attention to here is HTTP status codes. 4xx errors typically indicate that the URL of a page is malformed or can't be found, and 5xx errors crop up when your server can't deliver a page on your site. In a SEMrush site audit, you can click on the relevant sections of the HTTP status codes pie chart to see a list of pages that may not be loading correctly. You might also want to spend a bit of time examining any page crawl depth issues highlighted by SEMrush. Crawl depth refers to how many clicks away a page is from your website's homepage. Pages that are buried too deep in your site architecture can be harder for Google to find. So, for example, if you've got a really important piece of content on your site, but it's 4 clicks away from your homepage, you might want to consider linking to it from the homepage or including it in your navigation. 4. Inspect site security. Security is a key ranking factor, so it's important to be aware of any vulnerabilities in your HTTPS implementation. To find these in SEMrush, go back to your Site Audit overview and then click on HTTPS. This will highlight any issues with your SSL certificate, server, and website architecture. Keep a particular eye out for issues relating to misconfigured SSL certificates. When someone visits your site, its SSL certificate ensures that anything they enter into it, like passwords, credit card details, or contact info, is scrambled into unreadable code while it travels over the internet. 5. Evaluate Core Web Vitals. Core Web Vitals, CWV, are a set of metrics created by Google that measure how fast, stable, and responsive your website feels to users. Sites that perform well on all 3 fronts can benefit from a ranking boost. To see if you're meeting Google's expectations here, go to your SEMrush Site Audit's Core Web Vitals section, where you'll find data on Largest Contentful Paint, LCP, the time it takes for a browser to load the largest block of content on a page; Total Blocking Time, TBT, the time a page is unavailable for data input; Cumulative Layout Shift, CLS, how much the page jumps around while loading. You can then identify any areas for improvement. Note, however, that fixing Core Web Vitals issues can involve some fairly technical work on your website, so you may need to seek help from a developer to do so. The other thing worth noting here is that SEMrush uses lab test information when evaluating Core Web Vitals scores, instead of real-world visitor data, field data. If you want to see Core Web Vitals scores based on field data, it's better to use Google's Page Speed Insights tool or the Core Web Vitals section of the Google Search Console platform. Next, I'm going to look at another performance-related issue, site speed. But before I do, I'd just like to say that if you're interested in learning more about SEO, do check out our free SEO toolkit. It contains a host of useful SEO resources and links to special SEO tool trials. I've put a link to this in the video description. 6. Improve site speed. Improving site speed not only boosts rankings, but also enhances user experience, especially for mobile device users. To identify any problems with site speed in SEMrush, go to your Site Audit and then to the Site Performance section. You'll then be presented with a list of site issues that might be slowing your website down. For example, large images or videos, uncompressed JavaScript and CSS, slow server response times, render blocking resources. 7. Improve internal linking. Good internal linking helps both Google and users navigate your site more easily. And linking from authoritative pages, those with lots of external links pointing to them, to less authoritative ones can help the latter perform better in search. You can use the Internal Linking report in your SEMrush Site Audit to identify areas for improvement here. This highlights issues like broken links, pages without inbound links, overuse of nofollow attributes, and missing anchor text. To fix these sort of problems, consider adding breadcrumb navigation to your website, using more contextual internal links within content, and building topic clusters to group related content. Doing so can improve user experience, pass link juice throughout your website more efficiently, and help search engines crawl your website more effectively. 8. Check your Schema Markup implementation. Schema Markup is structured data that you add to your website in order to give search engines more context about your content. For example, you can use Schema to tell Google that a page involves a recipe, a product, pricing information, a review, etc. Google will occasionally surface some of this information in its search results in the form of rich snippets, and these can sometimes encourage click-throughs to your content. It's very easy to implement Schema incorrectly, however, so it's worth checking in on the quality of your markup periodically. You can do this in a SEMrush SEO site audit by navigating to the Markup report and then looking for any instances of invalid structured data. 9. Check page titles, headings, and meta descriptions. Good page titles, headings, and meta descriptions are key to helping search engines and users understand your content, and an SEO audit gives you the opportunity to check that you're following best practice with regard to all three. Page titles. Your page title, also known as the title tag, is the blue clickable link that users see in search results, and it's one of the strongest on-page SEO signals. So, when auditing your site, check for missing title tags. Pages without them won't rank well. Duplicate title tags. These make it harder for search engines to surface the most relevant content. Title tags that are too long or short. If they're too long, Google won't be able to show the complete title. And if they're too short, they won't be providing enough context or keywords. If using SEMrush, you can identify any problems with title tags by going to your site audit report, clicking Issues, and then searching for Title. Headings. Headings help both users and search engines quickly understand the structure and topic of a page. The H1 heading tag signals the main theme of a page, while H2s, H3s, and so on break it down into digestible sections. When auditing a site, check that there are no missing H1 headings on your site. Your heading structures make sense. In other words, that H3s follow H2s, H2s follow H1s, and so on. Your H1s and page titles are not exactly the same. Because Google looks at the keywords in both H1s and page titles, you'll be missing out on keyword targeting opportunities if they are identical to each other. In SEMrush, you can spot any H1 issues by going to your site audit, clicking Issues, and then searching for H1. This will bring up a list of any errors or warnings relating to H1 headings. Meta descriptions. Meta descriptions are short pieces of text that summarize the content of a web page. You typically see them in search results under page titles. Now, according to Google, meta descriptions don't directly influence search rankings, but they can play a big role in how often people click on your links in search results. And a high click-through rate can be beneficial from an SEO point of view, because it gives Google the opportunity to assess how much people like your content. If you receive lots of clicks through to a page that provides a good user experience, then you may get a rankings boost. So, during a site audit, check for any missing meta descriptions, or overly long or short ones. Aim to write them so that they are 150 to 160 characters in length. In your SEMrush site audit, you can spot any problems with meta descriptions by going to the Issues tab and clicking the Meta Tags option. 10. Review content quality. Google insists that content quality is key to its performance in search results. It frequently talks about the importance of creating helpful, reliable, people-first content. So, as part of an SEO audit, it's worth looking beyond technical issues and reviewing your content as part of your auditing process too. There is actually a set of questions provided by Google to help you do this, with some of the key ones being as follows. Does the content provide original information, reporting, research, or analysis? Does the content provide a substantial, complete, or comprehensive description of the topic? Does the content provide insightful analysis or interesting information that is beyond the obvious? There are a lot more of these questions you should review, however. I've put a link to the full set in the video description. You can also use SEMrush to assess your content in various ways. For example, you can use its SEO Writing Assistant feature to assess the quality of an existing page or post and see recommended ways to improve it. You can also use SEMrush's On-Page SEO Checker feature to get ideas for content improvement. Go to its Idea Tasks section and filter the results by content to see a list of things that SEMrush thinks you can do to improve the quality of pages and posts on your website. 11. Identify keyword opportunities. You might think of a site audit as a way to improve the state of your current content. But it's also an opportunity to reflect on what content might be missing from your sites. An easy way to get ideas for new content is by using SEMrush's Keyword Gap feature. This lets you identify the keywords that your competitors are ranking for, but you're not. You can then use this information to craft new content that targets these phrases. 12. Identify backlink building opportunities. Backlinks are links to your website from other ones, and they're a key part of SEO. This is because Google effectively views them as votes for your content. The more high-quality sites that point to your site, the better the chance of your pages and posts ranking highly in search results. If you'd like to identify link-building opportunities for your website with SEMrush, you can do this by navigating to its link-building tool, and then to your website project. You'll then be presented with a list of domain prospects, pages on websites that it's worth trying to get links to your content from. If you move one of these prospects into your in-progress pile, you'll usually be able to access contact details for the editors of the websites in question. 13. Check your site structure. A well-organized site structure helps search engines crawl your site more efficiently, ensures that important pages are indexed, and makes it easier for users to navigate your content. If your site is messy or disorganized, for example, if it contains buried pages, inconsistent internal links, or a confusing menu system, it's going to cost you both traffic and conversions. So as part of your SEO audit, review your website's navigation. Ensure that it is easy to use and that it foregrounds the most relevant content on your site. This will help your users get at your most important content, while giving search engines vital context on the topics they should associate your website with. 14. Monitor progress. To maintain the SEO health of your site in the long term, you need to monitor its condition regularly, and ideally fix problems as soon as they crop up. A key way to do this is to ensure that you've registered your site with Google Search Console. This free tool from Google lets you inspect your site regularly for any problems and alerts you automatically via email to any issues it finds with your website. You can also ensure that you're monitoring progress effectively by using SEMrush's Audit Scheduling feature. Just go to your site audit settings in SEMrush and use the scheduling option to run site audits automatically on a regular basis. Another way to sense check whether your site's technical setup or content needs attention is by tracking the positions of your pages and posts in search results. A big drop in their visibility can indicate a problem with your site. To set up position tracking in SEMrush, go to its SEO section and then to Position Tracking. You'll then be able to add the target keywords you want to track the rankings for and get daily or weekly reports on their performance. If you notice an overall deterioration in these search positions at any point, that's a big clue that it's time to make significant improvements to your site's SEO setup. And of course, Google Analytics is your friend when it comes to monitoring SEO performance. You can use this to keep tabs on site traffic. As with rank tracking, if you spot any volatility, especially downturns in traffic, this is a big clue that there are SEO issues that need to be addressed. And that's it, our guide to performing an SEO audit on your website. If you enjoyed it, it'd be great if you could like this video and subscribe or follow wherever you're watching it. Before you go, a quick reminder that if you check the video description, you'll find a link to an extended trial for the tool I've used throughout this guide, SEMrush. And if you have any questions at all about SEO audits, do leave them in the comments. We read them all and will do our best to help.